a movie from a director who I now think is, for me, 4 out of 4 basically perfect movies. And the bigger the catalog gets, the more comfortable I'm saying is one of my favorite directors of all time, if not just like after David Lynch, my second favorite director of all time. And that is my number 2 movie is the latest from Ari Aster, director of Hereditary, Midsummer, Beau's Afraid, and now Eddington. Eddington is probably the biggest departure in that, it's not a horror movie, although I would say Beau's Afraid isn't quite a horror movie either, but this is a neo-Western, a Western thriller film. So essentially a Western that takes place in the modern day. It actually takes place in 2020, peak of the pandemic. And it is this small town of Eddington dealing with, you're almost seeing all of these events that we remember from 2020, politically and politically and not. And you're seeing these characters deal with them and the tension that it creates in this town. Which, of course, has amazing performances from Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal, who kind of are the main, dividing line. Pedro Pascal is a politician in the town, a mayor of Eddington, and he's running for re-election. And because of the tension, the sheriff, who is played by Joaquin Phoenix, because of all the disagreements he has about how Pedro Pascal's character is handling the pandemic and stuff, he decides, you know what, I'm going to run. And then there's this just showdown between the mayor, who thought he was, a done deal and going to get reelected, and the sheriff, who has decided now that he's going to run against him. And it's just a lot of great tension between those two characters. Also, you've got let's see who else is in the cast. There's
quite a cast list right there on the poster.
It really is. It really is. And so I'm trying to find a way to appreciate all of them. But yeah, there's so many touches on every part that we've recognized in our society during that time and has bled into this day. So even though it's takes place, it's like a period piece that takes place 5 years ago, and then but so it still feels so relevant today, even though I know for some people it might feel like 2020 was forever ago, because there's this sort of new agey kind of group that Emma Stone's character gets sort of tossed into, and she does an amazing performance as well. So basic takeaways from this movie: it has amazing tension, and the latter half of the movie, when it really starts to spin out into something else, is shocking and amazing to behold. I think some people with this movie, inherently the political stuff in this, it's gonna make people have mixed feelings on it inherently, if you're gonna have a movie that's so inherently political. I think the main criticism that I would want to mention is that I think that there are some people who read this movie as being centrist, read it as oh, both sides are crazy, let's make fun of both sides. And I think that is I'm sorry, but a little bit of a brain dead analysis of this movie. It just isn't what it's saying at all.
I just want to make sure. Is this only from Reddit you've seen? Have you seen critics say that too, or no?
I'm trying to. I would lean towards just people online saying this, random Twitter users or something. But I feel like there's may have been some actual critiques of this from that perspective. But yeah, because my thoughts about this movie and what I think it shows amazingly is that while the culture war is happening, while, both sides or whatever are going at it, in the background, something much more evil is happening. Like, billionaire or billion-dollar companies are getting away with stuff while all this culture war crap is happening in the foreground. And so, similarly, if you're paying attention to this movie only by what's happening in the foreground, like, oh, haha, he said something funny that makes Republicans seem dumb, and he says something that makes Democrats seem dumb, like, that's just not... You're not seeing the whole picture of the movie, because I think the main thing to pay attention to this movie is what's happening in the background. Not literally, but, like, what is causing these factors to happen. I think it's actually pretty transparent that that's what the movie is, because there are some, like, you don't have to read into it too much, like a David Lynch movie where you'll never tell what it actually means, and maybe it doesn't mean anything. Like, it's not like it's that abstract. There's a particular scene where there is a plane coming in where a company is sending in essentially a team of people to shake things up in the town, and there's a logo on the side of the plane, and the logo is the logo of the tech company that is trying to build a data center in Eddington. Like, all this stuff is there, but I've talked about this with people, and they didn't even notice that. And there's, like, it's not even subtext. Like, it actually happens in the main, like, it's not subtext. It's the text of the movie tells you.
It's not like something you really have to struggle to see. It's, like, presented pretty obvious, or
it's not commented on, so you would have to be paying attention, but it isn't. But it is there. But yeah, very interesting stuff. That's why part of what I loved about this movie, and why I think it may have started a little lower on my list and just crept up all the way to number 2, because I just love a movie that makes me think in the way that this does, where I'm thinking about just everything I just mentioned, that like this movie's critiques of like political parties or political persuasions, on the surface, like, I guess it's funny to giggle at dumb types of people, but I ultimately think that's the least interesting thing about this movie. And that, like, sitting with it and thinking about, why, what is all that stuff distracting from? That's really my main takeaway, is, like, when one person says one dumb political thing, or one person has one crazy cultish belief, what is that distracting from? What's going on in this movie that is distracting from? And what is going on in our real, actual reality where that is distracting from? What is the culture war distracting from? And this movie does a great job of that, because ultimately, and I think the last scene of this movie shows this beautifully and very bluntly, while we're all fighting over dumb stuff, they're going to build a data center. I mean, that's literally actually happening where we live. They're trying to build a massive data center. It's scarily relevant. Like, they're just going to completely annihilate all of the water and nature in the world to keep building data centers, and we're going to keep fighting over dumb stuff. Like, yeah. That's all. So... but yeah, that is Eddington, a very poignant movie, and I loved it.